review like of Saturday's game over Saturday or over Sunday and Monday when you were looking back at it?
Oh, look, there was some pretty blunt review meetings went on, and really looking at some of the technical areas of the game where we really felt we let ourselves down. Disappointing thing, from a coaching perspective, is that we got beaten in some areas which we've done well before, and we got away from our process and the way we do things, and went too individual and couldn't counter the strength of the Welsh team. But the sessions yesterday around review were really good, and training today has been really good this morning with our units, with a lot of physical work done, particularly for the forwards. So we're really looking forward to the contest this week.
A lot of the commentary since the game was the kind of gulf in the power and size between the Irish and Welsh forwards. How can you counter that on the pitch?
Oh, look, certainly on the looking back on the last game, we probably they put us on the back foot early on. That they played to their strengths really well, and in the intensity of the game, we didn't react well to fight ourselves out of the corner, so to speak. We know our scrum, we haven't got the biggest scrum around, but I believe that when we really follow our process, we can be technically quite good, and the way we need to deal with these teams is by being able to stay low, and low body height in the scrum is our strength, but obviously you have to be technically very good to be able to do that against a big pack. We didn't do it at the start of the game and come unstuck. That gave them easy entries into our sort of defensive zone. A lot of work going in this week. We come up against a big pack again this week. They scrum somewhat differently to Wales, but for us, it's about process and being able to really hold our low body height under pressure. And same with similar with the defending the maul. I'm sure France will look at last week and think they can come at us through the maul, but we've done well on that in the past. We didn't do well in that area on Saturday, and once again that's about getting really low in the fight, working together. Defending maul is not an individual battle, and we went a bit individual under pressure on the weekend. We've got to fight very hard as a unit, and we take that out of their game.
In terms of personnel, any injuries you're managing this week, or are there any new players brought in accounting for the injuries you picked up last week?
Oh, look, we're obviously, we're in a campaign now. You're going to get knocked around a bit. We've obviously picked up a couple of injuries out of the Welsh game. Dealey's looking quite good at this stage to come through and be available for this week, and a couple of other players are sort of on light duties today, but we expect pretty much to have a full complement training tomorrow.
And just finally for me then, what positives can you take from the game on Saturday?
Look, for me, as a coach looking at it, I was bitterly disappointed on Saturday night, but when I looked again at the game on Sunday morning, I got up early and was doing my reviews. I thought, the game of rugby is a simple thing, but you need to get some of the basics right around particularly around the set piece and the contact area, and you get that right, the rest of the game lives on the back of that. So looking at the game from my perspective, there are some things we need to get right there. They're not massive. It's not a massive shift to get from what we did last Saturday to what we need to do this Saturday, but and that's what we've done this week. We're focused particularly on those key areas. We're not trying to change the whole game. We're looking at those 3 or 4 areas and making sure that we nail those areas, and we believe the rest of our game will live on the back of that.
Just kind of building on that point, but from a psychological point of view, do you put Saturday behind you and just move on and focus to France, or do you dwell on it a little bit and try to harness the hurt from last week to draw some positives for next week?
It's a bit of a mix the way we approach. I mean, first of all, yesterday we didn't even look at France. Yesterday we looked at ourselves and looked at and really pointed out the things that we need to get right, because there's a couple of things from that game around the set play and the contact area. If we don't get that right, we're going to struggle every time we come up against a good opposition. So yesterday was about review. There was and probably a more general team meeting, sort of re-emphasising what we're about and what we want to do as a group and what representing Ireland means. So yesterday was about looking a little bit internally and also reviewing what we did today. We're looking at France today. Our line-out meeting, we looked at what France do, how we're going to counter them more, where we see weaknesses. We looked at their scrum. The team meeting we go to this afternoon, we'll look at their attack and their defence. So now on, we know what we need to work on, and from here on in, everything focuses to what we have to do against France.
In the first half, the Welsh pack seemed to be very dominant, but in the second half, Ireland certainly achieved parity and got some penalties. Was that player-driven, or was that more of a technical aspect?
Well, look, we addressed a couple of things at half time, but I think as the first half went on, it was good to see that we did do some problem solving on the field. Sometimes it's hard to get the really technical messages in during the game, but the players did problem solve. I'd say the Welsh pack started to probably tire a bit, so that did help us, but we still had to work hard to turn things around. So on the back of that, I think our overall condition is good. That we can go the distance, and I think that this week, I think the game will be more open and more flowing, which funny enough will suit us more. We allowed Wales to really dictate the pace of the game, and it was very stop-start and not a lot of ball and play really compared to other Test matches. So that suited a big, strong forward pack, which went stop-start, set play to set play. So this week, I think there'll be much more ball movement in the game, probably more game time, and I think that will really suit our players. It suits the smaller, faster players.